Okay, people, it is April 1st, and while I would have loved to do a Nintendo Switch 3 speculation and predictions for you all today on April Fool's Day, we have some news about this Nintendo Direct tomorrow. I also just want to talk about the journey, right? I mean, we've been waiting so long for this Nintendo Direct presentation, and we are less than 24 hours away. We now know the length of this presentation. We now know what Nintendo is planning to do in the following days after the presentation. That'll give us an even deeper look at the games and console itself. And honestly, it just feels kind of unreal that we are less than 24 hours away from the next generation of Nintendo. I mean, this only happens once every 7-8 years now, so this is a big moment. Let's savor it, let's cherish it. So that's what we're getting into today. Of course, if you are new here and you enjoy Nintendo Switch 2 speculation, theories, discussion, I would appreciate you subscribing. Let's get into it. Alrighty, folks, welcome back to the channel. So this is what Nintendo of America tweeted out this morning. They had two tweets for us at 6 a.m. this morning. They said, join us tomorrow, April 2nd at 6 a.m. Pacific time for a closer look at Nintendo Switch 2. The Nintendo Direct, Nintendo Switch 2, April 2nd, 2025 live stream will be approximately 60 minutes long. And we'll just stop right there before we get to the other news they announced because oh my goodness. Now, I was kind of expecting it to be around an hour, but there was that part of me, that piece of me, that was a little pessimistic, I suppose, maybe expecting it to be like 45 to 50 minutes, but a 60-minute Nintendo Direct. Just to put it into perspective, that is the longest Nintendo Direct that Nintendo has ever hosted or will host. And the last time that we got a presentation that was around an hour was back in 2017 when they revealed the Nintendo Switch. So I guess the expectation was that it would be around that same length. The difference here, the key difference, is that this is a Nintendo Direct. It's not a live presentation like we had back in 2017. So there won't be those awkward pauses, those translation errors. There won't be people coming out on stage and having this weird stumble of words, right? There won't be this weird EA guy coming out and saying FIFA. Well, that might happen, but it'll be more produced. So this should be 60 minutes of nonstop action. I do think it is still worth kind of setting expectations to how they'll pace the entire thing, though. I'm expecting a big Direct. I posted my predictions yesterday. I think this reaffirms that a little bit, that there will be a lot of first-party and a lot of third-party games announced, but it is also going to be a big hardware overview. I didn't really get too deep into this in my predictions, but I kind of mathed it out here based on the 2017 presentation, and if it is approximately 60 minutes long, 1 hour, here's my expectation. I think it'll be about 20 to 25 minutes of hardware, but that also includes whatever the new MouseCon game will be. I think there will be some sort of new EPD4 project by the 1-2 Switch team, by the Switch Sports team, that will really focus on the MouseCon gimmick that we have seen teased time and time again. So 20 to 25 minutes, including hardware, the C button, I didn't talk about that at all yesterday, the campus button or social button, whatever it's going to be, I think that'll be there as well. And that's going to be about 1/3 of the presentation. Nintendo likes to kind of do a lot of retrospectives, so they may even come out and say, here's what happened with the Nintendo Switch. People love this so much about Switch. Here's what we did to change it and evolve it for the Switch 2. They'll talk about the Pro Controller here, which had a FCC filing update. I am really curious to see if the patents end up being true and it is a Pro Controller that you can split in half and maybe even connect to the Switch console itself. That would be awesome. So Pro Controller, I think we'll see here, as well as any other service updates. I am expecting something for NSO, be that a price increase, be that new features. I guess if there's a price increase, they would kind of have to announce new features with it to make the blow feel less bad. So 20 to 25 minutes on that, maybe even pushing 30. But when you look back to the 2017 presentation where they had Koizumi coming out and all these different talking heads showing off the console in real time, that was only about 15 minutes. And I mean, they literally had, I think it was Kimishima, come out and be like, this is an IR scanner and this is an NFC reader. And they showed him putting the Link Archer Amiibo one there. There may very well be stuff like that in this Direct, but it's not going to be on a stage. It's going to be a pre-produced video like the Switch 2 reveal trailer was, where they're in a white void, I would imagine. So they might even be able to get it down below 20 minutes, but my expectation is about 20 to 25, including whatever new kind of software gimmick showcase game they have, akin to a 1-2 Switch. That section in the 2017 presentation was under 5 minutes, so maybe it'll be under 5 minutes, although I feel like MouseCon, they might need more time to explain that. We'll see. From there, I would expect about 20 to 25 minutes on first-party games, and I guess here we can kind of talk about the format of this Direct. I've seen a lot of people expecting it to be headlines, like we saw last week even with the final Switch 1 Direct. I don't think so. This is a Nintendo Direct, but it is a Switch 2 Nintendo Direct. It has special branding. I think it will be trailer after trailer. You know how in the middle of Directs they have that big spotlight game? I think it'll be more like that, where basically every game shown is a spotlight reveal. We get a trailer for Mario Kart. We have someone come out and say, that was the new Mario Kart. Here's what's different about it. Then it immediately snaps and goes to a trailer for the new Zelda game or whatever. And then it kind of keeps flowing like that. I'm not expecting headlines flowing across the screen. I don't think it'll be like that. And then finally, I would also think that it'd be about 5 to 10, maybe even 15 minutes on third party. This is where it gets a little tricky because in 2017, they had EA talking heads come out. They had some other partners come out. They had some pre-made video like Todd Howard from Bethesda talking about Skyrim. I think it'll be some of that, like the Todd Howard video, where I think we will see a video from Phil Spencer that's, 3-4 minutes long, and he's saying, yeah, the Switch 2 is awesome. Here's our plans for Xbox games on Switch 2. And in that little video, they could announce a lot of stuff, Forza, Indiana Jones, Doom the Dark Ages. I mean, they could go really hard with a little Phil Spencer spot in here, maybe even Halo. I've seen a lot of talk of Halo being announced in this presentation, or even that Oblivion remake. So there will be some third-party talking heads, I think, on screen, but still, it's a produced video, so it should be pretty tight and concise. So that's how I think the Direct is gonna go. And that would be incredible. They have to do the hardware stuff first, though, including the release date, the pricing. That'll be the first thing they go over. That'll be about 1/3 of the presentation, I would think. Then from there, 20 to 25 minutes of first party, then 10 to 15 minutes of third-party software. Of course, not literally in blocks. I think if Final Fantasy IX Remake is announced, it'll be in the middle, right? It'll be somewhere in between like a Mario Kart and a Splatoon 4. It's not just going to be all lumped in at the end. They'll save some big first-party game for the very end of this presentation. I guess that would be 3D Mario, unless there is, like I'm kind of hoping for, a 3D Zelda tease, even if it is years away. Maybe they would end on that. But also a 3D Mario, if it is releasing this year, a little bit more tangible. They could also end on Mario Kart. I mean, the Switch 2017 presentation ended on Breath of the Wild. If Mario Kart is a launch title, then yeah, I would guess that would be there as well. Oh, and something else they also need to go over is Switch 2 Edition games and how that's going to work with cross-gen and upgrades. That might also take about 5 minutes. This is where they can show, hey, Prime 4, Switch 2 Edition. I mentioned it yesterday in my predictions video, but like Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD, I think that might be here as a Switch 2 Edition game. And whatever else they're planning, if they're planning updates for more first-party software that's been out for years at this point, maybe a New Horizons update, Smash Bros. Ultimate update, whatever it is that makes it run a little bit better, or maybe there's other features. I mentioned in my video that it would be cool if like Switch 2 Edition games had trophies or something. Maybe I'm shooting too high with that hope, but I think that'd be a really great way to incentivize people to upgrade to that. They would also need to tell us how we actually get them. Are they paid? Are they free? Are they tied to NSO? Whatever the case is, I think they will detail them here pretty in depth. And also, one last thing before we get into the other piece of news that Nintendo dropped this morning. I got a lot of comments on my video yesterday, but also I've just seen this sentiment on social media a lot, saying like, people are expecting too much. Nintendo YouTubers and fans are hyping this Direct way out of proportion. Nintendo isn't even hyping it up. You guys are expecting way too much. Leave. Get out. You're not welcome here. This is a Nintendo Direct presentation 8 years in the making. We only get one of these per decade. Maybe expectations won't be met. Maybe they won't announce as many games as I'm hoping for or expecting. However, to come in here and be like, oh, you're hyping it up too much, and to say that Nintendo isn't hyping it up either is just kind of ridiculous. This is the longest they've ever announced the Direct in advance. They announced it 2.5 months in advance, but also they've been doing daily countdown little teaser videos. To say that Nintendo isn't hyping this presentation up is just flat out wrong. This is the most they have ever hyped up a presentation, ever. In my, 15 years of following Nintendo news and presentations thoroughly, this is by far the most they have ever hyped up a presentation. It's not even close. It's not even close. So to say that we need to stop hyping it up, I don't know, man. This is their Direct to show people why they need to buy a new console. If there's ever a time to hype up a presentation, it is this, and if we come out the other end disappointed, I guess that's on us. But for me, even if they don't announce everything I'm dreaming of, 60 minutes long, I kind of find it impossible to be disappointed by this, unless you're one of those people that gets disappointed. There's like, oh, there's no Golden Sun. This was a bad showcase. But for rational Nintendo fans, I don't think there's really any way this presentation is a disappointment. With that said, here is the other piece of news that they dropped this morning. They say here, join us April 3rd and April 4th at 7 a.m. Pacific each day for a Nintendo Treehouse Live Nintendo Switch 2 presentation featuring hands-on gameplay of Nintendo Switch 2 games. Now, I don't know if I mentioned it in a video, but I was talking with some friends, and I actually called this like a week ago. I was like, you know what? I think they're going to have the return of Treehouse here to demonstrate and have some live gameplay of the games that they're announcing at the Nintendo Direct. And this is really exciting. I love that they're on separate days. Unfortunately, I won't be at home on Friday to live stream that showcase because I'll be in New York going hands-on with Mario Kart likely, as well as a couple other games, but I will be live on a Thursday morning watching that Treehouse. Really cool to see this come back. I am excited to see what games they decide to show off here. I also think there is a chance there are other announcements here, not necessarily from Nintendo first party, but I could see some third-party games popping up here, being announced on this showcase, and I think that would be a good way to kind of just segment and not overflow the direct with like ports, right? If there's a ports of, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a good example. Split Fiction. Let's say Split Fiction is coming to Switch 2. Don't show it in the direct, show it on Treehouse. That would be a great way to kind of pace these things, I think. And yeah, I'm just really happy that it's on segmented days, because usually back in the E3 days, they would have their Nintendo Direct followed by a 4-hour Treehouse stream. Now we're going to have tomorrow morning on April 2nd, our hour-long Nintendo Direct. I'll be live streaming that, as well as doing a lengthy post show. And according to information that was in the Nintendo Today app, make sure you download it. Nintendo's really taking this thing seriously. The first day, so April 3rd, Thursday, that Nintendo Treehouse stream is going to be 4 hours long, while the Friday stream will be 3 hours long. So on top of an hour-long Nintendo Direct, we're also getting a 7-hour cumulative Nintendo Treehouse stream, which is going to be just absolutely crazy. You can imagine, what, 2 hours of that, though, could be Mario Kart, right? Like, they could go really in-depth on Mario Kart or 3D Mario, whatever the case is. It's really cool to see Treehouse return, and I'm excited to at least stream and watch the Thursday 4-hour one with you all. So that is going to do it for today's video. I mean, once again, less than 24 hours to go. It just feels crazy that we finally made it here. I'll be honest, the time from the reveal in January to now kind of flew by. I think that Nintendo Direct last week and Tomodachi Life and Rhythm Heaven being announced, as well as another look at Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, that really helped the time fly, right? Like, I think if that hadn't happened, this past 7 days would have been slowed to a crawl, but having that direct right beforehand kind of gave us a nice little distraction, a nice little appetizer, so to speak, for the bigger showcase. And I am expecting a very, very big show. I think this is going to be a big one, guys. It's been so long, it's been hyped up so much by Nintendo itself that I think there's going to be a lot of really exciting announcements here and news from Nintendo. And it really just feels surreal that we've made it to the other side of the tunnel, right? People have been making videos speculating about Switch 2 since like 2021, I want to say. I think Mario Rabbids was the first time I really saw people earnestly saying, where's the Switch 2? Because back then it was Switch Pro, but then Sparks of Hope was announced and people were like, that looks way too good. It must be a Switch 2. I didn't start talking about Switch 2 until 2024. That's when I thought it would be announced. I thought it was going to be announced at the end of 2024, like the Switch was back in 2016. So I haven't been covering it as long because, frankly, I just kind of thought it wasn't going to come out anytime soon. People, I think, set themselves up for disappointment there. And disappointed they were when it didn't release alongside Tears of the Kingdom and it didn't release alongside Mario Wonder. I remember all the videos. I remember all the social media posts and forum posts of people being like, it has to come out in 2023. Here we are, 2 years later, and we're finally seeing it. So just a very exciting time to be a Nintendo fan. Also, just so much other stuff going on. I mean, we had that Nintendo Direct with the Tomodachi Life game. I mean, if that's like a Switch 1 tier announcement, I can't even imagine what they're going to have in the Direct tomorrow. Definitely watch my predictions video / hopes video for that, because I do think there will be some out of left field surprises from Nintendo. I think we will see some dead franchises return. But yeah, as always, subscribe here for more Nintendo Switch 2 content. Once again, I will be streaming. I'm going to go live 2 hours before the Nintendo Direct, so I'll be getting up at like 3 a.m. in the middle of the night, going live at 4 a.m. Pacific time with a 2-hour little pre-show. Maybe we'll play some Mario Kart or something while we wait for the 6 a.m. Nintendo Direct, and then from there, we'll be live for, I imagine, a while longer after, analyzing the trailers, reacting to everything again, kind of just talking about it with chat. So definitely subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss tomorrow morning stream. And then from there, Thursday morning, I will also be live streaming that entire Treehouse presentation. And then over the weekend, you can expect some hands-on impressions. I don't know what games will be playable yet at the Nintendo New York hands-on experience, but expect videos basically going over every single thing that I get to play and get some hands-on time with over the weekend. So definitely subscribe so you don't miss those. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at BoTalksGames, check out my other channel at It's Amiibo, and click on one of these 2 videos to keep listening to me ramble about Nintendo. Until next time, folks, peace!